There we go. Host, Meet Your Trading Experts for 2022. It's great to have your company today. I know it's been a little while since we got underway this year. We had a pretty busy year of Meet Your Trading Experts last year. I wanted to give you guys a break to freshen up before we brought in some new and interesting people, and we've certainly started that way this year. We've got with us today Malcolm Lin. We've got who's a Forex trader in Singapore. He's going to talk a little bit about his methods. And one of his students, Brian, another Singaporean now living in Denmark who trades Malcolm's methods. Welcome to you both, guys. How you doing?
Hi, I'm
Hey,
great.
Paul.
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well.
Yeah, I'm doing well too.
Cheers, guys. Look, what I'd like to do, obviously, we're about trading experts, and what I'd like to do is ask you both, if you don't mind, to tell us a little bit about how long you've been trading and what your history is like. Perhaps, Malcolm, we could start with you.
Yeah, sure. So firstly, I'm Malcolm, and I'm from Singapore. I'm 22 years old. Currently, I have dropped out of university to trade full time, and I'm currently studying for examinations for financial consultant as well. So I basically started trading in 2020 during COVID. So to me, the reason why I started was because back in COVID we were all in lockdown, right? And I couldn't really see myself doing nothing for basically I was in lockdown for 2 weeks, right? So I realized that personally I've been spending quite a bit of money, and I was thinking of a way to make money in lockdown. So I dabbled into stocks and slowly stumbled my way into Forex, and I fell in love with technical analysis. So within these 2 years, from 2020 till now, I've mentored a few friends of mine, Brian included, right? So I'm basically eager to help new people come into the market and gain the freedom of time. That's
really
basically
cool.
that's basically the reason I'm trading Forex. Yeah.
In 2 years, you've gone from complete novice to learning technical analysis, compiling into a strategy, making that strategy fit yourself, and becoming profitable. Pretty good effort, mate. That is pretty good in 2 years. These timeframes are getting shorter and shorter as the world changes, aren't they?
Yes, definitely, for sure, because right now with the internet and everything, information is out there, right? But I've been to so many courses, been to so many free. I mean, there's a lot of free information online as well, but it's hard to sift through them and organize what you need to become profitable.
That is so true. So many fail at that particular game. And again, did you say you've now left university and you're trading full time?
Yes.
Fantastic. And Brian, what can you tell us about you and your history?
Yeah, so no, I was just about to say, I think Malcolm and I started trading about the same time. And I think when he mentioned 2020, it's kind of when I started as well and when I joined ATW as a student. So yeah, clearly you may start at the same time, right? But everybody takes a very different path in their journey of trading. And I would say at some point, it's really about how obsessed you are with the charts and with trading that really helps you understand yourself better. So yeah, but anyway, for myself, I started trading kind of similar idea as to how Malcolm started, right? We all kind of want financial freedom or the freedom of time. It really depends on how you want to define it for yourself. For me, I always knew that I was going to have to leave my full-time job because I knew that my wife would have to move for an overseas assignment. And that's why I'm in Denmark as well. So I started then because I wanted some runway to become profitable. So that plan is coming true at this point in time. That's what I'm doing now. I'm doing both Forex and crypto. Forex a little bit more in the shorter term. I think it's extremely powerful investment tool. For the short term, if you need an income to pay the bills on a monthly basis, it's definitely that. And for me at least, and then for crypto, I look at it more on a medium to long term basis.
You went through the pathway at Actions to Wealth and did some crypto courses with us, got into crypto, and now really you're trading Forex and you spend a lot of time in the NFT area as well, right?
Yeah. So I think with the experience in ATW, I mean, not to say it's well, to say that it simply teaches you the basic of trading is definitely an understatement. Like, I think there's so much value in that ATW course, where it really helps you to understand yourself better. And what I really liked about it the most is that there are so many ways of trading that has been put forth for you to find that what really works for you, right? So the daily wave rider is there, and then there are people who comes in who shares their own way of trading, just like what Malcolm is doing as well. So it's always this whole constant think about how you can improve yourself as a trader. You may not have to adopt a particular style, but if you keep your ideas open and to see how other people do it, it actually may help you to improve your way of trading, and as a result of that, become more profitable, right? So I think up to now, that's really a value that I hold true, like to always be open to how others are doing things, what may work for you, what may not work for you. And at the end of the day, there is no, I personally believe that being a trader is a constant learning journey, right? You always want to be better, you always want to improve your edge. And I think with ATW, that provides the opportunity for us to do that. So and with that being said, yes, that's how I got into crypto as well. So I've attended courses in there. I got myself acquainted with crypto, and then along the way, with that knowledge, I've now moved on to NFTs as well. So as I mentioned, I'm doing these 2 or 3 investment instruments for now, and that's where my focus is.
Look, just to be clear inside, and guys, welcome again. This is Meet Your Trading Experts. It's our first one for 2022. It's great to have your company. We are talking today to Malcolm Lim and Brian. Malcolm the master and Brian the student, trading a forex approach. We're going to delve a little bit more into what they do as we go through the process. And if you have any questions, do feel free to put them into the questions box, and I'll try and get them in. As always, this is your show, and if you have any questions, get them in. But I want to go a little bit off script, and I want to ask you both. I'll start with you, Brian, because we've finished with you. If in your pathway, we're talking now about about 2 years for guys to go from complete beginners to successful traders. I think that's really cool, because I think when I started, it was probably a 5-year journey. And now we're getting guys through anything from maybe 12 months to 2 to 3 years, depending on how hard they work, how much time they spend, and how focused they are. You've learned a multiple of skills. But what I'd like you to share with us, Brian, first, what's the most important lesson you've learned in the last 2 years that's helped you to become successful?
Yeah, the most important thing, I would say, it comes down to two things. I would say one, it's the psychology side of trading. I know everybody says this, right? But I feel it's understated still. It's still largely a big part of whether you are profitable or not. And I'll explain why. I would think that psychology is the difference between everything. Like, for example, if you backtest and you are doing well, it doesn't mean you do well in live charts, right? Simply because of when things are playing out in real time. And when you have taken trades, for example, if you have lost, all these are going to affect how you trade or you respond in real time. So I think nothing replaces time in the market, which is why I would say I would like to view it from a viewpoint whereby I don't think we can reach to a point as a trader to say that I'm the best, or I'm better than you, or I think this is good enough, because the market is just different every day. Yeah, something stays the same, but that's the only reason with or the only thing that can help, right? With time in the market, that helps you to be stronger from a psychological point of view. And psychology for me also extends to discipline. I think that's also very important to do the work that no one likes to do. For example, to be honest, when I started out, I never liked to do back testing, right? I hated it. But the more time you spend in back testing, the faster it's going to accelerate your results in real time. So that's what I really believe in as well, because you get acquainted with the charts. Again, it's time in the market, and at the same time, it builds your confidence. not only from an outcome point of view to know that, okay, I know I have a 50% win rate, but yet at the same time to know that, okay, I've seen this entry over and over again, and I know that this is going to be a high probability setup, right? So that works both ways. Discipline also to me may mean if I'm only going to trade 2 hours during the open sessions, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to sit at my charts the whole day. I know as a starter or a beginner, it's easy to think the more you sit in front of your charts, the more you're going to make that money. But unfortunately, it's not. And we always have to keep in mind the reason why we started trading. It's because we want to be financially free and we want to have the freedom of time, right? So that in turn helped me to be a better trader. So yeah, the psychology part of it and the back testing side of things. I think in the 2 years I've been in this, that's the two most important things.
Cheers, Brian. I want to pick up on that. Look, we could do, and we have done, and we will do again, I have no doubt, full shows on psychology because it's such a big topic. I remember when I was coaching into cricket, everyone would sit around and go, look, the game's 90% mental, and then we'd go out and practice physically. We knew it was mental, but we didn't know how to do the mental part, right? And I like two things you said there, there's no substitute for time in front of the charts. That eventually there's a certain amount of time you have to spend in front of charts to get how they know. And that when you back test, not using the robot's good for finding results, but when you back test personally and you see an entry over and over and over again and you see it work, it breeds confidence in the system. And that's what psychology is about. It's about the confidence to follow the rules in moments of doubt. And really, psychology is as simple as that, right? Have a set of rules, follow the rules, yeah. Psychology good. Have a set of rules, break the rules, psychology bad. Malcolm, what's your most important lesson in the last 2 years?
So for me, I realized that if you really want something in life, you have to be obsessed with it, right? So learning Forex myself, I went through many failures. I went through many different strategies. Yeah, I even went to the point of going through learning from signals. Imagine that, right? So subscribing to paid signal services to learn the strategy, even though they're not teaching anything. So it's just me in their group, looking at the charts, trying to make something out of a picture that they sent to us, right? Just imagine that. And to be honest, right, that phase lasted for a good 4 months. The first 4 months of my trading was like that. So if I was already that willing to start to learn something myself like this, right? And it was so hard because yes, there were some mentors, they were only in it for just to grow a bigger community, right? Do they really understand the reason of why they're doing it, right? So for me, it's more of trying to understand the purpose of why you do Forex. Is it your passion? If it is, good. Then you have the extra driving factor, right? So another thing that I learned in Forex and in the 2 years of my trading, as Brian said, psychology, right? So it is true that when you first start out, psychology is your biggest, like it's your largest obstacle that you can ever meet in your trading. After you have cleared that, that is where you start to grow exponentially, right? Because to be honest, the skill set of learning how to trade can be done in a very short period of time. It goes for all different strategies, right? The psychology is where you sit down in front of the chart, analyze, sit on your hands and be patient and wait for the opportunity to come to you. Imagine if, let's say, you set 4 hours a day to trade, right? And I have waited for 3 hours to trade and I have not gotten a single setup. And to me, in my mind, this is 3 hours of my life just wasted that I can never get back. So I still have this remaining hour of the day and I'm thinking, crap, man, I need to make the best out of this. I need to get a good trade. So the psychology behind that is that you're trying to force a trade to sort of make up for the 3 hours of waiting that you have done. And who knows, majority of the time, you're not taking high probability setups. And that's the reason why your losers will pile up. Psychology is the reason, right? So you need to be very disciplined and need to be focused. and trade like a robot, right? So essentially, you don't have to make a robot trade for you, right? Because obviously the robots work on history, right? You don't see the current present situation and what happens. So discipline is key to be successful in trading. Yeah, that's what I think as well.
Cheers, guys. Look, it's one of the things, isn't it? We all say, and it's well known. I think we say in our stuff a lot. There's trading is simple, not easy, and it is simple, but it isn't easy because you have to deal with all of these temptations. And if you manage to do that, you tend to have success, and those that do that are the ones that get through and make the money. Look, we're on Meet Your Trading Experts. It's our first show for 2022, and it's a little bit different because we've got Malcolm to come in and talk about trading on shorter timeframes. And one of the things that I get asked all the time is, can I bring a scalping expert in? Can I bring someone trading on shorter timeframes? And I've always said the same thing, and it's now 10 years where I've said, you find me someone doing that and making some money, I'll put them on the show. But none of these guys are making any money. Malcolm was the first guy that's turned up with a trading record and said, actually, look, we can trade on shorter time frames and we can make some money. And look, that's the bottom line, right? We're not bringing people in just to be popular because everyone wants to trade on shorter time frames. And Malcolm's not down on 1 minute charts. He'll be teaching on 15-minute charts, I think, for execution. But it's really nice to see someone trading down on these time frames and making some money. It's really nice to see the consistency that comes with his record. On that note, Malcolm, what can you tell us about your approach to trading? What can you tell us about I know you're not going to teach your strategy live on YouTube for free right now, right? But
Yeah,
as an
definitely.
overview of it, what can you tell us about it?
Well, so basically the whole idea of my strategy and the whole understanding of the market is essentially how structure is being made by um, the people that have a lot of money, right? So we have the institutional firms, we have the banks and whatnot, right? But essentially they are the one that are moving the market, and we are following behind their structures of how they move the market, right? So understanding structure is very important, number one, right? Number two is refining them, refining structures, refining your structure towards the lower time frame to increase your risk to reward ratio. That's essentially what I'm going to teach, right? And coupled with the idea of supply and demand.
Malcolm, when you talk about structures, you're not talking about what we would call strict technical analysis, the stuff you find in the manuals, right? This is chart patterns, putting together in specific ways to do what you do, right? It's not a standard, go and read the Japanese candlestick book and you find this stuff. It's bigger patterns and they're quite unique to what you do, right?
Yes, it's a very unique way of seeing the charts because there's no indicators, there's no RSI, there's no moving averages involved in this. It's just the candlestick, which is the basic that you should know, and understanding the market that is being shown in front of you on the charts. Just pure technical analysis, no indication. Yeah, so I do see a question. Yeah.
Yeah, look, let me read the questions too, because I don't want them to break up your flow. So we'll come in and out of them a little as we go. I'm going to ask Mai as well. Mai, we'll be streaming this to, I imagine, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. If there's any questions that come in from those, can you let us know? I'll read the question out because they come. Oh, they've got everybody. So, do you trade all or only a specific set of pairs?
Okay, so for me, I trade a specific set of pairs, but this strategy applies to all pairs essentially, even to stocks, crypto, commodity such as oil, wheat, whatnot, right? As long as if there's anything with a financial chart, it can be done. All right. So for me specifically, I set I think a maximum of 3 pairs that I trade, right? So the 3 pairs that I trade are the euro US dollar and the pound US dollar, as well as gold. The reason why I choose the euro and the pound US dollar is because they are one of the most liquid pairs in the market, right? Because they have a lot of money and a lot of volume in it. So I feel that while yes, there are so many things that we can trade, it's better to focus on one or two and master the behavior of that pair, right? Only then you will have the extra edge in the market to make you profitable. If not, you will have too many things to look at one point of time.
Yeah, it's interesting how the brain works, isn't it? The brain can remember 1 or 2 things repeated over a period of times, but it can't remember 30. So if you're looking at 30 charts, the brain won't remember the history of anything. But if you're looking at 2 or 3 charts, the brain will remember the history of them. Look, I'm always a believer that you either trade one strategy in multiple charts or you trade multiple strategies in one chart. Either one of those things can work. But the more you can limit it, the clearer the brain, the more the brain likes it, I guess is the word. So what you're doing here, we're down on shorter time frames, Malcolm. Is it easy to teach and is it easy to learn? Is it super complicated? Is this one of those things where you got to have a degree in economics to be able to do this? Do you need massive technical analysis? How long do you need to have traded to be able to trade what you're going to teach?
Okay, so just let me put it out there that I'm currently 22. I'm dropping out of uni, so I do not have a degree. So to be honest, the way I see it is really simple, right? The moment you understand, basically, okay, the whole strategy, the name of the strategy that I'm going to be teaching you is the 3-step box strategy. You follow. It's easy as following as step 1, step 2, step 3. Execute. It's that simple.
When you say the 3-step box strategy, now I like 3 steps, but there are triathlons which are 3 steps, right? You've got to cycle 10K, swim 5K, and run a marathon. It still doesn't sound that easy, right?
That's
How
also true,
simple are the 3 steps?
Right. Yeah. So for me, the first step, so I'm going to put it out here. The first step is to identify the story of the market / the structure, right? So that's the first step. After you manage to do that, then you'll be going in to look for supply and demand areas. Second, within your story that you have, painted for yourself. Afterwards, all you have to do is sit and wait on your hands and wait for confirmation. So confirmation means, so in the case of my strategy, going down to a low time frame. So like, let's say if I were to analyze on a 4-hour time frame, I will go down to the 15-minute time frame and wait for confirmation, and then to enter with a higher risk to reward ratio. That's as simple as it is. 3 steps.
I really like that. It lines up with some of the stuff we talk about a little bit, Malcolm. I talk a little bit about the fact that I believe when you're time framing, you want to cut one time frame. If you go from a 4-hour chart, cut the hourly and go to the half-hour, 15-minute, you're okay. If you start cutting further than that, I think you start to miss some of the connection between them. So, Brian, you're the student. There are 3 steps. How long did it take you to learn the 3 steps? How long did it take you to start and get comfortable with the 3 steps? And how long did it take you to get profitable? There's 3 questions for the 3 steps.
Yeah. So I would say to understand the concept, for my standards, I would say in terms of my time spent with Malcolm, to understand the concept itself, I would say probably in 2 to 4 hours, you can understand the concept of it. But what comes next is for you to be able to apply it, right? So exactly like what Malcolm has said, it's simple, but with most of the strategy, right, when someone shows it to you, it always looks like, it's simple, right? But when you sit down and your charts, when the charts are blank, and even though you kind of understand how to go about, okay, I know how it works, but for you to set it up on your own, it requires that practice, right? So I sat through a total of about 8 hours, I think, 8 hours of lessons with Malcolm. I've of course broken down into different days with practice in between. But I would say I started with Malcolm in August last year. By October, I was forward testing to see if I could be profitable enough to get myself evaluated to be a funded trader. So that meant August, September, October. So by the 3rd month, I've done enough back testing for me to be confident that I can be profitable. So I moved on in October to then start to go through some of the evaluation process to become a funded trader. So some of you may be more well versed with that. And at the start of the year, I have decided to get started on my journey to be a profitable. I started my journey to be a funded trader. So if you're talking about how long it took me to be profitable, I would say since I started forward testing in about towards the end of last year, November, December. But to be profitable enough, which is different for everybody, right? Because some people may say if I get 2% from the charts every month, I'm happy. Some may say I need 8% or 10% for that matter, right? So to be profitable, I would say towards the end of last year, but I'm on my journey now where I'm trying to break further through to become profitable enough for myself because I'm doing this full time, right? So I would say I'm currently, I cleared phase one. So at one point, yes, I did hit the 8 to 10% profitability level. But I'm not at that stage where I do it all the time every month yet. I fluctuate at about 2 to 4%. But that's not good enough for me, right? So I'm still back testing, and I'm always in front of the charts, even on days that I don't trade. I do markups of the charts, just looking to improve, and to increase that profitability.
So this goes to show how hungry he is, right? So even on days like on the weekends, he's doing it. It shows how much he really wants this to work for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, there's quite a lot in there to unpack, Brian. So you learned this around August last year. You've done some back testing. You've done some forward testing. You've committed to it. You've had a month where you've made sort of 8 to 10% in the month, but generally you're making 2 to 4% in a month.
Yeah.
Drawdown months. When's your last drawdown month?
Oh man, if you talk about drawdowns, so I was, if you are talking about drawdowns when I was practicing the concepts, of course I was in huge drawdowns, right? Like when I was back testing and I was forward testing, 5, 10, no, I wouldn't even say 5. I was down maybe 10, 12%. But of course I was learning and I was testing it. But the moment I decided to go live and I started on my journey of being an a funded trader, my max drawdown was maybe 4 to 6%. But I always managed to recover by the end of the month, which means because you have 30 days to clear phase one, which means you need to hit 8% in that 30 days. So there are times within that month I was 4 to 6% down, but at the end of 30 days, I'm always up, but just not up enough for me to clear that 8%, right? So I have to redo it.
And this is this is a specific product that won't particularly be of interest to our guys.
Yeah.
They've already got funded accounts, but for others. So, but what you're saying is, this is what I'm hearing in the midst of all of this. There's quite a lot of stuff in here, Brian. But what you're saying is that each month you're profitable. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. So since I started the evaluation process, even though I have been in drawdowns, but I finished the month in profits, of about 2 to 4%, with my highest being about 8 to 9%.
Great, helps. What about you, Malcolm? Can you show us any recent trading histories? Can you show us any records as to how this system works for you? Before you do it, I'm going to get another question. Before we get to records, I think that's what I do want to know and just check with you both, right? This is a no indicator strategy, right? We're talking price action here. We're looking at charts and what they call naked charts. There's nothing on the charts apart from price bars, and we're making decisions based on price bars and our story that goes with it, right?
Yes, correct. It completely has nothing to do with any indicators at all. I mean, the maximum that we'll do is draw some lines, but that's on you, right? You have to draw the lines, draw whatever zones you want to draw, but those are not indicators. So yeah, it's essentially naked charts.
Great. And we're anything that's on the chart you manufacture yourself, right?
Yes, correct.
And look, we've got Brian. There's quite a lot in some of his answers. I'm just trying to get it really clear, but I think what we're saying here is since he started trading live, it's probably been about 4 months. He's made 2 to 4% for 3 of those months and 8 or 9% on the other one. No drawdowns in that time he's been trading live. What about you, Malcolm? What's your record as far as consistently of being profitable? How many months, without hearing about more funding and all the rest of it, just how many months in a row have you been profitable?
So I started my profitability journey, I think back in January last year, right? So I took about, I think, 8 to 9 months to consolidate all my ideas and really back test and, go through the rut myself and, with no help and whatsoever. I started in January. So from then I was, I think a little bit late into 2020 was when I got my first profitable month, right? So after that, then I realized that, okay, well, can I sustain this, right? So the first 4 months, it was first 2 months profitable, the next 2 months not profitable, right? So the drawdown range was, I think, roughly 5% for the next 2 months, but then for the first 2 months it was like at 15 to 20% profitability, like in terms of profit of like the initial balance account, right? So if you were to do the math, at the average of the 4 months is still profitable, right? And it's not true. I mean, it is true that, all traders, say even the top traders, go through drawdown months, right? It's whether you're able to be consistent throughout a longer period of time, right? Yeah.
Guys, there's a lot of answer in these answers. Give me some more stuff,
Okay,
Brian.
right. So
sorry, I'm Malcolm. So in the last 6 months, have you been profitable for 3 of them, 4 of them, 5 of them, 6 of them? What sort of period have you been profitable? Let's give us some simple. I mean, there's guys listening to this that are really interested in what you're doing, and the answers are taking so long that to drag out the truth in them is quite difficult.
Right. Sure.
Nice,
How about
answers about profitability?
how about I'll show you like my past month actually in
Okay,
in
let's start there.
in the fund account. Yeah, sure. Right. Can y'all see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, so as you can see here, this is a fund account by one of the prop firms, my Forex fund, and it's a 100K account. So basically, we started the month, and let me just scroll down. This is how much profits I've generated so far. 17K. So that would be a rough 17.6% for the month, right? And with how the prop firm works is that, once you're profitable, you can get a payout after the end of the month, right? So essentially, right now, with this money sitting here, I'm just waiting for the end of the month to get paid out, right? So it's always important to pay yourself as traders, right? So as you can see here, with the win-loss ratio, profitable trades is roughly a 50-50, right? But even so, I managed to gain a staggering 17.6%. And you can see the equity curve, Yes, there are drawdowns, but yet we climb back up. And majority of the time you do see that the drawdown is not as steep as the increase, right? So this goes to show risk to reward ratio is a very key part of trading, right? Yeah. So this is a one example. I can pull up another example. Just give me a second. Let me share. Okay. Yeah. So essentially that is what I have for you. Yeah.
Okay, cheers. Let's jump out of the screen share, please, mate.
Yep. Sorry.
Okay, so 17% of the month to date for March. I'm going to come back to my question, Malcolm. I think people in the room really want to know the answer to this.
Right.
So February's been a great year. March has been a great month. Was February profitable?
February was I was in drawdown for about 2%.
And January?
January was profitable for about 5%.
December?
December I didn't trade because that's the end of the month. So it's the end of the year, so holiday period, so I didn't trade.
October, November?
October, November, I think both around 8 to 10% each.
Brilliant. Okay. That's probably clear and to the point. Look, I'm going to jump the question about the prop accounts, guys. Brian came into this stuff not through Actions to Wealth. Malcolm came into this not through Actions to Wealth, and his students have gone on and done that the way they've done. We're not going to jump into different versions of prop accounts. We'll leave the Actions to Wealth one for our guys and the paid for ones for other guys. But if you have any other questions, pop them in the questions box. I am keen to get you guys thoughts on this and your questions. One of the things I think about it is that I'm sorry to push a little bit. I think that one of the things we promise our people here is that we're going to be really upfront. And I'm really interested in how much money it makes. I think you guys might be as well. So I hope that's come through. If you have any other, and I don't want to ever, like again, when I say what percentage people make, I'm never interested in asking how much money they make. That's private. But what percentage they make, I think, is really important. So I think we've covered my next question, which is how long did it take you to become profitable? My impression, again, is that 5 or 6 months to just get the hang of things, another 3 or 4 months to develop your own strategy for you. And that's as you're talking about it being obsessed by trading. That's just giving everything. And now what you learned in that first year, you're teaching to other people, so it's a bit quicker. Brian, a couple of months to find your feet, bit of back testing, and then forward testing and profitability quite quickly for you. Is that right?
Yeah, so I think with some of the things that you just said with regards to time frame, I just want to highlight a couple of things. Is one, because you mentioned earlier that nowadays people are getting quicker and quicker to become profitable, right? But yes, I think the information matters as well, like how available it is. But yet at the same time, and I think we've spoken a lot about this during the show, it's just basically how much you want it and why you want it, right? So yes, I did spend some time to find my feet before I got profitable. Whether I'm profitable enough for myself is another story altogether. But the key thing is here, like I would say that the mentorship that eventually Malcolm is going to, well, not the program that Malcolm is going to eventually share with you guys together with ATW, to have your efforts first is the most important, right? You need to be there to do the back testings and to do the charts. But the next thing is for you to be able to accelerate that learning, you need to have someone there as well to be able to check almost as much as possible in real time as to whether what you have done is right or wrong. And that time in between that is checked. It's extremely important for me because when I do it, I have my thoughts and my whole process in my head, right? So when it's fresh and someone tells you, okay, this is right, it sits, right? But when someone tells you, okay, this is not right and this is wrong, immediately you get a whole concept changed. And that was such a good learning process, or what really helped to accelerate my learning of this concept as well. So take that into consideration when you guys learn, right? Most of the time when you make that mistake, we don't really want to share it, for example, because no one likes to share a losing trade, like you don't feel good about yourself. But at the end of the day, we are not fighting one another, right? We are fighting the markets. And if you do well, Malcolm is not going to lose anything, right? He's going to be happy for that matter. So the key takeaway here is this, guys. Like, while you put in the effort, I think Malcolm, at least for me in my own experience, he has been there, and I'm sure he will be there as you go along. And whenever you make those practices, to be able to get the feedback quick is extremely important.
Right. So I want to add on something. Well, as for Brian, his process did take 5 to 6 months, right? So it obviously will vary for different students, right? For different people taking the course. So some people pick up things fast, some people pick up things slow, right? And what actually helps it is if you're eager to learn about it. If you're just looking for a strategy to, just copy paste blindly, I probably think that it wouldn't really work for you in this industry. Not at all. You have to put in the work. Yeah. So I mean, personally, my fastest student got profitable in 2.5 months. Then he started to trade his own live account. Yeah. So there's a time frame. So roughly around 2 months to 5-6 months if you're a bit slower, but that's fine. There's no
Cool,
rush.
guys. Look, I think we're getting to the point where I was going to ask you a bit more about psychology, but I think we covered a lot of the psychology stuff at the start of this. So I think it's time. We're going to have Malcolm come in and teach his stuff for us. Early April, is it April 2nd? I think we've got you in, Malcolm. Is that right?
Yes, right. 2nd of April. There's a question in the chat. In the.
Yep, we'll come back to Gabriel's question in a few minutes. So April 2nd for Malcolm, and it is 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. Is that right, Malcolm? Or we're doing 3 2-hour sessions, aren't we, with Q&A at the end of each one? Is that right?
Yes, correct. We are doing 3 2-hour sessions within the 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. time frame. Correct.
Fantastic. And look, if you guys are interested in learning Malcolm's strategy, you're able to sign up and get an ATW discount. I'll have Mai put the link in. It's $4.97 for 1 day with Malcolm on his strategy. If you're interested in doing that, I'll get Mai to post the link in there now, and you guys can register up. Malcolm is used to teaching small groups, so we'll be keeping it to a small group of people inside the organisation. We'll probably keep the first time out for Malcolm at about 20 people. And look, we're not expecting to run this multiple times into our organisation. We're planning on running this into the general organisation just the once. So if you're interested, click on the link and join him for the day on the 2nd of April and learn the 3-step box strategy. 3 simple steps. I don't think it's not so much just a nice simple strategy, but a strategy without distraction. A strategy about naked charts, looking at charts and understanding the story, what's going on, supply and demand as they bring it along. And I think a turnaround time that's reasonably good. A couple of months of some back testing and some working, and an expectation to be profitable soon after that, if you work at it. I like what Malcolm said. Look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you're doing and which part of the programs you're doing. Nothing worthwhile in life is done without work. You know, if success is earned, and that's my experience of trading. You have to work hard at it, and it's one of the reasons that I think, I don't, that's quite the word, but if traders appear a little bit conceited at times, and I've met a few that appear that way, I don't think they're conceited. I just think they're pretty satisfied with how much work they put in and the reward they got for it. And it's a good feeling when you work hard and make a return. And if you're looking for a miracle, then Malcolm and Brian aren't offering you a miracle. They're offering you a pathway to come and spend a day with them, learn what they're doing, what they've developed to become profitable. You've seen it from a master. You've seen it from a student. $4.97 Sing, not US, $4.97 for the day to spend the day with them. The prop accounts they've featured won't feature as part of our program with them. We've got our own prop accounts, so they won't be promoting or selling those in the program. There's no extra cost for that kind of stuff. If you learn it from Accidents to Wealth, if you're listening to us on YouTube, Twitter, if you're from Accidents to Wealth and you've got an Accidents to Wealth account and we teach it, we endorse it, you can trade it on your Accidents to Wealth account with proper risk management. So I've had my put the link in. Now, Gabriel's question is, can you trade on higher time frame for the strategy? What's your answer, Malcolm?
Right. So yes, definitely. In especially with this strategy, right? Higher time frame is key. Higher time frame triumphs over lower time frame, right? So your lower time frame is just used as a confirmation for your entry, right? So if you want, you can even trade the weekly. You can position trade this strategy as well. It doesn't matter. But what I'm trying to say is that higher time frame can be done with this strategy as well, for sure. Especially with people who are working and are trying to make something out of the forex markets. This strategy will be perfect for you because you won't have to sit in front of the charts for 4 hours a day. You can be setting alerts and wait for the area to be hit, and then look at the charts at that point of time.
Brian, you were going to add something?
Yeah. I was just about to say, definitely can do because I use it for crypto, right? So because I do crypto as well. When I'm looking for buy and entries, I use the same TA, the same tag, the same way to analyze the charts, but on a higher time frame. So I look at it on a daily, on a 4-hour zone. Well, because for stocks and crypto is not as liquid, right, as compared to forex. And then for forex, we go down. Personally, for me, 15, 5, and 1 minute. But I think for Malcolm, when he trades personally, he even goes down to the seconds. Yeah,
crazy stuff. But that's after like a lot of experience. But yeah, for this course, we'll be teaching you to scale from perhaps the daily towards the 15-minute. Right.
Look, I think you've sort of touched on this again. I think Gabriel's question is, if he's looking after his kid and working, he can execute this on a daily chart if he wants to. He can execute this on a 4-hour chart if he wants to. He can execute this on a 15-minute chart if he wants to.
100%.
It works for all of them, right?
Yes, it works for all of them. Yeah.
And you will be making. You will have. Veronica's asking if there's any follow-up. You will be offering some extended support after the first course, right? Details of that at the end of the first course as always, right?
Yes, correct.
Look, I do encourage you guys, if you've got any more questions, to whack them in the box and we will have them answered. I'm going to use, I'm going to get Maya to put the link back in. I'm going to get Maya to put the link back in so that we can, anyone who wants to join can get on and join us. So we'll keep it to around 20 people inside the company. Gary asked if you're using order block. Are you using order block?
Oh yes, order blocks, supply demand. Yes, the whole idea of that, and how to refine them and pick the correct ones.
Cheers. Look, guys, we're in Meet Your Trading Experts live and free. My name's Paul Botterill. I'm the host. With me today, we've got Malcolm from Singapore, Brian, a Singaporean living in Denmark, talking about trading on shorter timeframes, the three-step box strategy. Coming up in the next few weeks, we will have a few more trading experts in the next few weeks. I will be back, I think, mainly fortnightly. You never know. I'm hoping to have a bit of a chat about NFTs not too far away. We might have some more information on that for you guys. Probably back in about 2 weeks with another Meet Your Trading Experts. We will keep you updated in the various Telegram groups and other support stuff that we do. One of the things with Meet Your Trading Experts, I don't ever do them just to fill in time. We don't just do one because there's a show booked and let's get someone in and talk rubbish for an hour. I just don't have the time to do that. We do this when we've got some stuff we want to share with you guys, and we will make it like that. Gary, there's no plans for us to offer this twice. We're planning to offer this once into the general database is the answer to your question. Look, nothing in this world is set in stone and never changes, but the plan is to bring Malcolm and Brian in, have them come in and teach this strategy once. We'll watch the results. It's possible they'll wander onto the mentorship pathway in the future and be exclusive in there. And again, we were not, you guys would have noticed this, right? That last year we did quite a lot of new stuff, quite a lot of crypto stuff. And I said towards the end of the third quarter last year that we were going to have a long-term break from that. That we're going to bring in maybe one program a quarter. We're going to do a lot less of introducing new stuff. We introduced a lot of cool stuff last year. If you're sold, mate, just you know how to push the button, Gabriel. I'm looking forward to seeing you in there.
Hope to see you there.
So we're not planning on bringing guys in and having them do. We're not looking to do outside the mentorship pathway course. We did a lot of new stuff last year during COVID. We wanted to expose people to a lot of stuff. COVID's coming back to an end. We just want to focus on doing less stuff, the best quality stuff we can get, keeping it as simple for our people as we possibly can. So we're not looking to bring Malcolm in every 2 months and have him run this again, that kind of stuff that we did with some of the crypto stuff last year, just not a feature for us. More likely to follow Simon's program, maybe Linker's program, where we offer it once into the general database, then it might go onto the mentorship pathway. We might just let it sit for a year or two. I just don't want to be... I don't be overloading my students. I think at the end of last year we tried to give too much, and at times the students felt overloaded, and that's not a great place for us to go. So we're trying really to one new event per quarter is about what we're aiming for. We'll call this the one for the first quarter of this year. As you guys know, you'll have seen nothing new from us that I can recall since Simon in around October last year. Look, I'm going to wind it up. I'll get Maya to post the link once more time, just in case people can't scroll backwards or anything like that. I'm sure they'll be okay. If you want to get in, the 2nd of April, you'll have the chance to spend the day with Malcolm. Brian, are you going to join Malcolm for the day?
Yeah, I will. I will join you guys, even though if you start at 10, it's 3 a.m. for me. Well, we would have passed the daylight saving, so it's 4. I get an hour of sleep more. But yeah, I will be there. It will be interesting now for me to kind of have a look at how other people pick up this strategy as well, right? Like I said, keeping yourself open and to see how people do it. The same strategy is a way of constant improvement, and I think that's big for me. So I will be there for sure.
Brilliant, mate. One of the things about it, honestly, teaching somebody else a strategy is really good for your own learning, but even watching it get taught again is really good for your own learning. Do hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Look, we're going to wind this up. Thank you to my guests, Malcolm and Brian. Great to have your company today. Thank you to Mai for holding it all together for us, opening it up and doing the links and making sure that everything works. There's right people are spotlit all the time, that the people who are speaking are the people on the screen most of the time. And thanks to you guys for joining us again for Meet Your Trading Experts. Be you in the Zoom, be you on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you join us from today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you back in a couple of weeks. Thanks, everyone. See you later.
Thank you so much. Bye.